Well, God bless you and welcome to Real People, Real Voices. I'm your host, James Jackson.
And I'm the co-host, Pastor Wayne Moore.
We want to thank you for tuning in on today for this show. You're going to be tremendously blessed. We've got some exciting guests that are going to be with us on today. Dr. Moore, it's going to be a great show.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great show. We have a young man who's pursued education, and he's done rather well with it, and he's ready to share that with those who will be available to listen to what he has to say.
And a doctorate in philosophy.
Yes.
Which I think is really important for this season we're in.
Yeah, he's been doing this for his education piece in his life for about 9 to 10 years. And so now he's ready to get his PhD, and we're going to see what he has to say to us today.
Yeah, we want you to stay tuned. And also, we want to encourage you to go to the WHMB TV40 YouTube channel and subscribe so that you can see this broadcast and other broadcasts that you may have missed in the past. And you can go back, and there's a lot of information, Dr. Moore, that we've shared over the past several shows that it would benefit people to go back. And with the YouTube channel, you can press pause, you can get a pen out, and make sure you have the information.
Since we've been doing this particular show, I have literally thanked God for YouTube. I've been able to watch a few of the shows, go back and rewind, see what is being said, and we hope that people out there in the community will do the same, because it helps us to become sharp at what we're doing so we can get better at giving information to our community.
Right. And also share it on your social media, Snapchat. Well, I don't know if you can do it on Snapchat, but Instagram, Facebook, all of your social media. We want to get you to share it and let people know that we are on the air with some great information, some great guests that have been a blessing to Indianapolis and Central Indiana. So again, God bless you. Welcome to Real People, Real Voices. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to Real People, Real Voices. I'm James Jackson, your host.
And I'm Pastor Wayne Moore, his co-host.
And we want to get right into welcoming our guests. Brother Lamarcus, welcome to the show.
How you doing? It's a pleasure to be here.
Happy
How you
to
doing,
have
Doctor?
Fine.
And we mentioned just a bit ago that you're in your last year of your doctorate. Talk about that a little bit.
Hopefully I'm within my last year of my doctorate at 3.7 GPA. I'm in the curriculum instruction program at Purdue. And I am studying curriculum instruction, where I would like to bring awareness to the increase of black male faculty in the academy. So those that are going into the faculty position at Research 1 and Research 2 as institutions, in order for us to be a voice to our minority population, many of our young children and today's students need to see more people who look like us, so that they have a support system other than just a professor in the classroom. I feel we need to advocate more. We need to be a voice. We need to assist students throughout their journey, because I can attest that somebody assisted me along my journey with a strong faith in God, and he planted different people in my life. Dr. George Lewis, had he not spoke to me and said, "Lamarcus, I believe you should be in higher education." I was like, "Why?" He was like, "Well, you have the impact to deal with students. You need to think about being an administrator." So I feel the Lord will place the right people in your life at the right time to steer in the right direction. So I'm very grateful of my mentorship, and glad to be in a position where I can have an afforded opportunity to obtain a degree, and hopefully to continue to make a difference in the lives of students.
That's great.
And of course, Purdue is a great school here in the state of Indiana.
Absolutely, boiler up.
No, he didn't do that.
Well, some of our guests may have an issue with that, but don't,
They may.
but don't tune us out.
Please
Yeah,
don't.
stay with us,
He's a
please.
guest.
I'm just a guest.
He's a guest.
With regard to higher education, and you mentioned minorities in higher education, by state law, schools and they're supposed to have more black males, black females teaching in the classroom. But one of the things that we hear often is that the recruitment's hard, or there are not enough minorities who are in or getting into the teaching field.
And that's part of the research I've been doing. Hopefully soon I'll go into my preliminary exams, but from current research I've noticed that if you have a low pool of minorities in that pool as it is, your chances are going to have maybe 1 to 2 minority, male or female, go into a department to teach. So until we increase that number, we can expect to see low numbers, or that 1 African American male, or that 2 African American ladies, or other underrepresented minorities in a department.
What's the best way to motivate young people to get involved in teaching? Because I would think that a lot of our viewers would say, hey, you know, there's not a lot of money in it. Of course, you have to have a passion for it, but people also want to make a living. So what do you think? You said you had people who mentored you, who encouraged you to get into it. What would be the best way for us to help people who are watching, either motivate other young people to do it, or to motivate young people today to get involved?
I would say in the community, for particularly teenagers, I think it's time for us to you know, loosen our coattails and pull out these custom links and, you know, these tailored suits and go to the community with open arms and blue jeans and a pair of tennis shoes. In child development, they always teach you, in order way to get to a child's level, age 3, you must get down on their level, meaning you must get all the way down to your knees to actually teach that student. And I feel we need to take that same principle and use it with our teenagers who are struggling to find direction. The same applies with college students. With the students I work with, my average age is 27 as an administrator, so I try to be relatable. I let them know I'm an administrator, but I also let them know I have my struggles too. And with mentorship, I am in a program called Race Mentoring, founded by Dr. Donna Y. Ford out of Vanderbilt, and it's a virtual mentorship, but I mean, it's faculty and staff from all over the world. I can press a button and get in contact with them if I'm struggling, if I'm dealing with an issue with a paper. I mean, top researchers from Fred Bonner, Dr. Levon Esters, I can get in contact with these people because they know where I'm trying to go. That being said, I feel we need to give more access to students, and we need to give more access to the community.
I think, so you have access to those type of scholars, and you're basically saying that in our communities today, we don't have those type of accesses.
I'm not saying that we don't, I just feel we need to, I'm speaking as far as me going forth to be a faculty, those are the people I reach out to. When I speak of the youth in the community, I feel we need to be more present. You know, everybody has a church, everybody has a youth program, everybody has these things, but we need to come together on one unified front and just take over the community. You know, it bothers me when, you know, I ride around on different streets and you see youth or community centers closed, or you see skating rinks and things closed. What, you know, we need to give our students and our kids in the community something to hold on to. And I think the first part is that we need to get more engaged. You know, go to the homes, go to the communities. You know, I tell parents every day, if you really want me to come visit your child, put me on the visitation list. I will go and have lunch with your child. Why? Because the child may not realize it now, but I hope something I said now will come back and bless your child 15, 20 years from now and keep them in the right direction.
You're an author as well.
Yes, sir.
Tell us about your book.
I wrote that book in 2009. I'll be honest with you, the economy went crazy in 2008 when I got my master's degree from Georgia Southern. And I took a tablet and I started writing, going through some times just trying to find a job. And I just kept writing about the things I've been through. And next thing you know, it just started turning into a book, because I've never been like the person who just freelance writes all the time, but it ended up turning to a book. And, you know, with prayer and making connections with people, it became a book, and it has sold well. And I still use it. As I go out in the community to do motivational speaking, I make sure I keep some copies on me so that I can motivate students.
Right.
Kids, anybody. I mean, I've had even adults come back and tell me that the book touched them, because I purposely wrote the book for the average 3rd to 6th grader. You know, we can't expect our young children always to know the lingo or the big words that our typical doctors and lawyers use every day. Sometimes we need to, you know, refrain and go back and break those words down so we can get the same message to our community.
Where do you plan to see yourself 5 years from now?
5 years from now, God's willing, hope to be maybe a dean of students or something, somewhere where I can be of influence. I don't want to be in a place where I'm just locked in the office and count numbers. I always wanted to be in a place where I could be a voice to somebody, a student, a parent, advocating for a faculty member. I realized through my life, my calling has been to help people. I know if I went to some type of a marketing firm and just sold products to people that I know they can't afford, my spirit would not settle with me. I know that my my life calling is to serve people to the best of my abilities.
So you work with a lot of young men,
Yes.
and have you seen any success with the young men that have gone on to do some things?
Yes, within higher education, I've worked in several mentor programs, and we may have little small sessions from Bagels and Brothers, or we may have a Friday night where it's just a free open space for them to just talk about their issues. And we started with maybe 10 young men. 8 of them have transferred on IUPUI, and I think the last 2 will graduate this spring. Okay. So, and I take no full credit for that happening. I was just glad to be in a place where I could bless somebody. And in church they always talk about, you always want to receive a blessing, but it's time to be a blessing.
And you've been a blessing today.
Thank you.
We appreciate you.
All right.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Pastor.
Young doctor.
Thank you, Doc. Soon to be.
Yeah, we'll be. Let's say
right.
that.
Right.
That's
And
right.
Thank you all for joining us on today. Dr. Moore, what an incredible presentation.
It was. Young man, very proud of him. Those are the kind of guys we need in the community to help the community.
And people need to see him.
Yeah, need to hear him too as well.
Yeah. So thank you for joining us. We hope that you will tune in again. And in fact, we want you to stay with us because we're going to be back with some more after this. Welcome back to Real People, Real Voices. I'm your host, James Jackson.
And I'm Pastor Wayne Moore, James.
Great show today. The first segment there with LaMarcus.
Yes.
Doing a tremendous job. What a great example.
Yeah, great example of a young man. He'll receive his PhD in just a few days from now. We're praying that he'll be able to utilize it in the community to help other young Afro-American brothers and sisters.
Yeah, I'm optimistic that he's going to be just fine.
Yeah, I am too.
We've got Larry Smith. We want to welcome you to the program.
Thank you for having me. I really
Happy
appreciate
to have you, Larry.
Thank you.
And you are the managing director at the Randall L. Tobias Center for Leadership Excellence.
That is correct.
And leadership is one of my favorite subjects.
Mine's too.
Yeah, and I know you're going to share some incredible information with us today. And as I understand it, you're also a Stanford graduate.
I am indeed earned my master's degree at Stanford Business School.
So talk to us about that experience.
Well, I was a Sloan Fellow. Alfred P. Sloan started a program several decades ago that was designed to help business schools better tailor graduates to the needs of business. And so I was working for Cummins at the time, great company, was there for 11 years, and was very blessed to be on the high potential list. And so Cummins provided the opportunity for me to go to Stanford at no cost. I had to get in, had to be accepted, but I was able to go at no cost.
Wow, that's awesome. And of course now you are doing leadership on a full-time basis.
Indeed.
And before the show, you were talking to us about how it came about. So share with our viewing audience how that happened.
So the Tobias Leadership Center was started with a generous gift from Randall L. Tobias. He's the chairman emeritus of Eli Lilly and Company. And he really wanted to start a center that focuses on transforming both the study and the practice of leadership. There are any number of leadership programs and institutions out there. He wanted one specifically to focus on how we train senior leaders to be more effective.
Can you talk about the study and the practice of leadership? So not just talking about it,
Right.
but applying it to the business environment or applying it to everyday life.
Absolutely. So we actually are cross-sectoral, meaning we look at for-profit organizations, nonprofit educational institutions, faith-based leaders, as you are. The idea is that research informs practice, and when research informs practice, practice is more effective. But also practice informs research, and when practice informs research, research is more relevant.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it's great. I mean, how did you get to the point to where you knew that leadership was your bullet point in life?
It's a calling from God. I've been very, very blessed to have had wonderful mentors who have spoken into my life, who have poured into my life. All they ever ask of me is to pay it forward, to try to help someone else. I believe, as the Bible says, to whom much is given, much is required. And so I've always looked for opportunities to share the gifts that God has given me with other people.
So we talk about the LEAF program. Tell us more about it.
So Leading Edge Advisory Firm, or LEAF, is a consulting practice that I started back in 2009. At the time, I was working for what was then known as the Center on Philanthropy, now the School of Philanthropy at IUPUI. And I got a lot of requests from people about how to start a 501c3 organization, how to develop a board, how to raise money. And so even though I never intended to be a consultant, I decided that I was going to take that leap and try to help people do what they do more effectively in the nonprofit sector.
Okay, and if people want to initiate a conversation with you, what's the best way to do that?
Certainly, they can reach me via email at larry@leaf-llc.com or via phone 317-714-9050. And that really, in many ways, led to the opportunity at the Tobias Center, where we're really looking at helping nonprofit organizations, for-profits, and others create more effective leaders.
So your business, Leaf,
Yes.
helped you get where you are with the Tobias Foundation or Tobias
I
situation?
believe so. So when I interviewed for the role, what I said is that I have experience in the for-profit sector, in the nonprofit sector, certainly working with faith-based organizations. I'm an ordained minister, and I believe that the folks who hired me at Tobias were impressed with the fact that I had a broad set of experiences. And so with LEAF, I work both with for-profit organizations and with nonprofit organizations.
That's great.
So do you think that that Stanford education had a big impact on where you are now and where you're going?
Certainly. Stanford Business School is, as you might imagine, a very rigorous place. I actually wanted a program that would allow me to earn a degree, the 2-year degree in 1 year. So it was very accelerated, very intense. There were only about 40 of us in the program. Only about 18 were from the U.S. So it was an international program that was super concentrated to do the 2-year degree in 1 year.
Well, another thing I picked up in his bio is he's an athlete. Two questions. What is Stanford's logo? What is their mascot? They have a pine tree on the hill.
That's a very interesting question. So in the most technical sense, Stanford really doesn't have a mascot. So when you see Stanford Cardinal, Cardinal refers to the color, right? When you see the tree, technically the tree is the band's mascot.
Oh,
So-
now tell us how you performed. Was it at Stanford as an athlete?
So at Southport High School and then at Williams College in Massachusetts,
Okay.
where I was an undergraduate. So I was a 2-time All-American in track at Williams College.
And you have no competition. You can't handle our brother that is doing extremely well in the 100-yard dash.
Well, Usain Bolt is, I think, kind of a once-in-a-lifetime person. Maybe if I were a few years and a few pounds lighter, a few years younger, a few pounds lighter, I could take him on.
Oh,
Well, that's interesting. You know, you were an athlete, and of course, you've excelled in education. I think that would be an encouragement for young people who are watching today.
that's amazing.
Certainly. I try to spend as much time as I can. I'm a father of 3, 4 if you include my son-in-law. But I always want to spend as much time as I can talking with young people. I go to classrooms, I go to churches, nonprofit organizations that are focused on education. I've been so blessed in my life to have had so many men and women who have set an example of reaching out to young people. And I firmly believe that my success in life is in large measure due to the fact that I am so willing to work with young people.
Now, in the time that we have left, Larry, what could you say if you were sitting with someone and you had 30 seconds to explain the crux of leadership?
Leadership is about many things: courage, taking risks, educating oneself. There's no end to one's education. You never complete your education if you are wise. Certainly for me, it is a question of faith, and I want to give a shout out to New Direction Church, my pastor Ken Sullivan Jr. Being a leader means taking risk, being willing to put yourself out there. It is not something that is for the faint of heart, but someone who is willing, as Dr. King said, if you're not willing to die for something, you're not fit to live.
I think that's a good explanation.
I think it is too. We need great leaders.
Yeah.
And he's an example of that.
Yeah, and we hope that you will get out there, put yourself out there, and do it, and trust God for the best outcomes.
Yeah, if you put your trust in him, you can go far. Matter of fact, you can go farther than you could ever imagine because he has a way of taking care of his children.
Amen. Well, Larry, thank you.
Thank you for having me. Really
Larry,
appreciate it.
thank you, man.
Thank you, Pastor.
And thank you for joining us on Real People, Real Voices. Stay tuned for the rundown. We'll be back after this.
When it comes to your money, whatever you want to get smart about, you can find at smartaboutmoney.org. Smart About Money is a free online resource. We are a non-commercial, non-profit organization dedicated to helping people just like you get information about money. For everything from how to build an emergency fund to how to deal with job uncertainty, smartaboutmoney.org has the answers you've been looking for. Smartaboutmoney.org, the easy place to start when you want to get smart about your finances.
Well, welcome back to Real People, Real Voices with the Rundown. We've got Faith McKinney
Hello.
and Dr. Wayne Moore.
Yes, I'm here, Doc.
Two great segments with two great men. What do y'all think?
You know, we often talk about what are young men doing. This redefines it. You have these two young men who are doing an exceptional job in the areas that they're working in, especially in leadership. Not only in leadership, but faculty administration. Lamarcus is doing a great job. Larry's doing a great job. And so you can't say all brothers are not doing something. These brothers are really doing a great job.
Yeah,
Tremendous.
absolutely. Yeah, you know, it speaks to the dedication and the passion that our young men, African American men, you know, we or they, the young men, really want to make a change, you know, not only in our youth, but in our adults as well.
Right.
You know, I'm excited about learning more about the LEAF program.
Yeah. And, you know, off air you said you were a leader.
I'm a leader, yes.
And I think that's one of the aspects you have to know. You know,
Yeah.
Dr. Miles Monroe, the late Dr. Miles Monroe, he wrote a book talking about the attitude of leadership. And it's not having an attitude, but the attitude of leadership.
It's a different mindset.
Yeah, and I think
Pastor.
you have that.
Yeah, well, I hope I do, but it's a different mindset.
Yeah.
And you've got to do it. It's a risky lifestyle.
Yeah.
If you want to lead and lead effectively. See, a lot of people are leading and they're taking walks and they're just walking by themselves. If nobody's walking with you, if you're leading and nobody's walking with you, you're just taking a walk.
Yeah, and I think sometimes people misconstrued that attitude of leadership, which involves confidence, and Larry talked about putting yourself out there, having faith. Sometimes people misconstrue that as arrogance.
Right, and that is absolutely right, because a young man or a young woman has the ability to have confidence in their potential. Does not mean that they're arrogant, and because they're not willing to reduce what they're trying to achieve to fit in with other people does not mean that they're arrogant.
Absolutely. I think our guests were living proof of that. You know, both of them were leaders in their community, in their church, and in their businesses. So, yeah, we're great show.
And I like what Lamarcus said about the different mentors he had in his life. And I think all of us should take time out to encourage other people, younger people, to be the best they can be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, and I want to check out that Tobias Center as well. So we have a lot to look forward to. Maybe we can get them on the show too.
Yeah, maybe we can do something at the Tobias Center.
Yeah.
That sounds very interesting.
It does. It really does. He's invited us to come. I think I'm going to take advantage of that. I'd like to see what he's doing and what he's offering students and community as well.
Yeah, and we want to thank you all for joining us here on Real People, Real Voices. It's been a great show because you're here, and we think you are a great audience. Don't forget to go to our YouTube channel at WHMB TV 40. You can put that in the search field on the YouTube page there, and it will come right up. And you can see this show as well as other shows that you might have missed. Again, God bless you.
God keep you.
And we'll see you next time on Real People, Real Voices.